So how many kids do you have, John?
I have three.
Age?
They're 17, 20, and 22.
Yeah, mine's 20, 23, and 26.
Okay, so we're close in the
Yeah.
ballpark.
So, and how old are you?
I'm 48.
Ooh, you're young.
Just turned 48.
I'm 57.
Yeah.
So,
Turning numbers around.
as you know, the common
I'm 84.
As you know, the Common Core issue, education is a big hot potato in Connecticut right now and across the country. And we're here at Yale University. No better backdrop than this. I'm not sure how much you know about it because it's a very complex idea that they've been trying to put out in a program.
It's so complex that people that made it to the point where you can't understand it. It gets painted in such a light that unless you really go after it and pick it apart, they make it sound great.
Yeah. A lot of people think that Common Core testing, most of it's about testing, replaces exams, quizzes, tests. I think the biggest problem conceiving of the idea from the general public that doesn't have kids in the school system, young kids like we, ours are all out, is that they think somehow it's just another test and an exam that replaces mastery tests. And so what we found is to enlighten the public about just what it is, the testing of the test, and how in Connecticut, starting in September, it'll be full testing of the test, which the benchmarks, the results, our kids are basically, or maybe for you and I, are soon-to-be grandkids, are, being tested on something that hasn't been proven yet. And what is the long-term effect on their education, their learning abilities? So it's heating up, almost like the gun issue was, or is, and we're trying all we can at the state legislature next week on March 12th. There's going to be a public hearing, a small public hearing, but a public hearing at this LOB on Common Core. So we want everybody to come down. And what I'm hearing also is a lot of teachers, and especially mothers and parents, want to opt out, and they don't know how to opt out of it. So we're hoping the state legislature comes out and forces the governor and the attorney general to issue papers that can legally explain how a parent can opt out of the testing. And right now, that's the biggest confusion. How can you do it? Is what I'm hearing.
And for those who don't know Common Core or haven't really kept up on it, what I have found that I've looked into, the certain curriculum aspects of it, I find horrendous. The rewriting of history, which is just flabbergasts me.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking you how old your kids were, because we're older. We went through one education system. My kids went through another education a few years ahead of yours. And I remember the tail end, my kids were saying, Dad, you just got to keep complying. Almost like with the guns, you got to just keep complying with mandates, complying with these new tests, complying with education, and the schools feel like prison to the kids.
If I had younger children now, I'd be all over I'd be beating the drum on Common Core. I work with a lot of guys who have younger kids, and I tell them this is something that you have to pick up and carry, and you have to stand against. But
a lot of the parents are afraid their kids are going to get ostracized because they want to opt out. Teachers that have contacted me directly on my governor campaign, my governor run here, again, they don't like it, but it's almost like they have to hide.
Well, that's the problem with everything. Everybody's afraid, and I understand being afraid. I understand people being concerned. You don't want to step out there and, just go with the flow, be part of the crowd.
But somebody has to.
It's got to start somewhere. And I encourage everybody that can, pick your stance. If everybody did a little bit on something, and you got to stand up and say, no, not anymore. We're not going to allow this to happen. But everybody's afraid of the government. You turn around before you know it, the IRS is, is chewing up your files because, they want to get back at you. I fully expect. I've never had an audit from the IRS. I'm kind of expecting one this year, given my stance on things. The few things I'm sure that may come down the line on my end, but someone's got to stand up and say no.
Let me tell you, you're 47, 47?
48.
48 now. I'm 57. What else do we have to do in our life but to fight for our state, fight for our country, fight for our kids? And that's the message I want to tell everybody. What else do you have to do? Go on vacation, save money, buy bigger cars. It's the time in America right now to take a stand and on every issue, whatever interests you, or wherever it appeals to you. And that's what I've done That's what you're doing by the stand you've taken on the Second Amendment, and I encourage everybody, because right now, if they don't come out, put their names, and this is why I'm astounded. Facebook is, like you said earlier, it's a blessing and it's a curse, but people are putting their names out, saying, I've got state employees saying, Joe, I've had enough, there's so much we can do, they won't listen to us. So if they have the courage to stand up, and that's what I think leaders like yourself, I'm running for office, but you're not running for office, but you're a leader. I think, as you probably realize, more people are coming out to support you.
I had the outpouring of support's been unbelievable, not only within the state, but nationally. I've even gotten contacted from overseas. I don't look at myself as a leader. I'm just.
You are.
I'm one small guy. Maybe I have a big mouth, but I'm one small guy. I'm just doing my little part. And
that's how it starts.
That's
how it starts, and it's a good thing. And I just want to say I'm so happy, because when you run for office, especially I'm in a position like you are, where I stand on the Second Amendment, and when you do run, the only thing you can really gauge is who's going to stand with you, who will really stand up, and not to be radical. No. They want to paint us all as extremists and radical.
I'm not.
We want the country we grew up in back, the good parts. There's things that had to change in the country, and they did. But now, where are we going? Where's America going? Where's Connecticut going? Because Connecticut's trying to lead the way with going somewhere no one's told us. What is the liberal agenda? What do they really, really want? I mean, soon we'll go another location, but what do they want?
I know. The fundamental object of government, really, in the end, when you think about it, is control. They want, government needs to control something, then control the people. And we were blessed to have a document like the Constitution that limits what the government can do to you. Everybody talks about it's a contract of negative rights, or it's to limit the government from having the control over you that throughout history government has always had over everybody.
Right.
And look through history. I pick up a history book, do some reading, do some research.
Well, all I can say, the last message here is anyone who can run for office, because when we don't run for office, when people become intimidated to run for office, to step into it and take these stands, that's our last hope, is that people this year step up. And listen, there's some good Democrats out there. I'm looking for allies when I'm elected governor that can work with me, and they're across the state. So it really isn't a partisan issue; it's a constitutional issue. Even Common Core, the parental rights, the teacher rights. I mean, right now the government, the Common Core is coming down like Obamacare. It's the same kind of monster coming in and trying to bulldoze everything that's standing in education. So, run for office, whoever's out there listening. That's my message, because if you don't, I mean, what's next? Anarchy?
Time will tell.
We don't have a lot of time left.
No, I don't think we do. And I'm hoping this may be the last election. This may be the last ability if people do not take a stand. And you hear all this stuff about a lot of it at the federal level. They like what's going on. If you're on the left, they like this out of control power grab that's going on. Eventually, somewhere down the road, there's not going to be a Democrat in the White House. And if you have to look at it that way. It's not so much left or right issue, it's a right and wrong issue.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. It's a right and wrong issue.
Well, you're right about one thing. We're running out of time for liberty and freedom, and this is not just a soundbite, it's true. And hopefully people wake up, because this is it.
That's it. That's all we got. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.